Hello, everyone. Welcome again to a very special discussion here on Who's Watching with Jomar Jomar. So, as you all know, Who's Watching with Jomar Jomar is where I discuss movies, TV series, shows, video contents, sometimes even concerts, Korean dramas, Pinoy content, etc., 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 with other people who also love this content. So, because when we really, really, really love something, it's always great to talk about it with friends or just fellow fans who will eventually become your new friends also. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jomar Jomar. So go click that subscribe button now, and you can also like and follow my Jomar Jomar Facebook page, and also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jomar Jomar. So thank you so much. Join our discussion right now. Share your thoughts, share your feels, share your reactions in the comment section. Actually, my question for all of you watching right now is, what is your favorite Pinoy BL series and why? So go share that in the comment section right now. And who's watching Pinoy BLs with Jomar Jomar? Alam nyo ba kung ilan na ang Pinoy BL na meron tayo ngayon? Magugulat kayo kung gano'n na sila karami. Magugulat kayo sa numbers. Sasabihin ko sa inyo later on kung ilan na talaga. I will tell you later kung ilang Pinoy BLs na ang na-produce since the BL genre peak worldwide, especially in Asia, and of course, reach the Filipino viewers during the first quarter of 2020. And to make this discussion more exciting, I will be joined by a very special guest, a fellow BL fan and content creator, but he's not a Filipino. He is an American BL fan from Massachusetts, USA. And how did we meet? I will tell you more about that later on. And kasi tayong mga Pinoy BL fans, and you can't deny this fact, we consume more BLs from other countries, Asian countries. That is a fact. If you will ask Pinoy fans their favorite Pinoy BL series, for sure, mas marami silang masasagot from Thailand, meron din silang masasagot from Taiwan, and now marami na rin sasagot ng Korean BLs and even Japanese BLs. And I am not saying we are not supportive and appreciative of our own content. That is not the case here. Maraming fans ng Game Boys, guys sa pelikula, and other Pinoy BLs. And I myself watched those series and supported those series. I myself is a proud supporter, and I promote Pinoy content. So maganda pag-usapan. Bakit nga kaya kapag tinanong tayo ano yung favorite BLs natin, ang una nating masasagot, Thai BL or Taiwanese or Korean. Ano pa ba ang hinahanap natin sa mga Pinoy BLs? So it's an honor for me to be joined by an American BL fan who watches Pinoy BLs. He loves Game Boys, he told me. And so we can also, figure out how fans from other nations are viewing our stories, the Pinoy BLs. So please, welcome on the show, a BL content creator and podcaster, and also a travel blogger based in Massachusetts. Please welcome Robin.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Robin.
How's it going?
Good.
Good.
First of all, of course, I would like to thank you for joining me right now for this special video talking about Pinoy BLs and, about life and love in general. It's always nice to talk to fellow BL fans and, BL content creator like you. So how are you? First of all, how are you?
I'm great. I think I've had a great morning so far. We can talk more about that too. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. And regarding meeting Robin, I think it started when Together Podcast on Instagram followed me on Instagram, and then I followed back, and then that started the exchange of messages. And it's so beautiful and amazing and wonderful when you meet other BL fans, especially from other countries, and then
Yeah.
you started talking about all these BL actors, all this BL series, and it just feels like you have this certain closeness because you share the same passion watching these shows. So that's it. that's how I met Robin and Justin. Actually, they are the
Yeah,
guys
producer.
behind the Together podcast. So before we start our conversation, Robin, will you please tell us more about Together podcast for my viewers here on Jomar Jomar YouTube channel?
Sure. So I actually started being interested in BL because of Together the series. I was watching a Thai show called like Bangkok Love Story, I think,
Bangkok Love
on
Story.
Netflix. Yeah, and my boyfriend, I'm in a long distance relationship. My boyfriend and I were having a video call at the same time because that's what we do. We just kind of like go on. We just kind of do our own thing. We'll be doing completely different things. But he heard Thai in the background, and he's like, "You're watching a Thai show." He's like, "If you want to watch a Thai show, you should watch this." And he gave me Together the series. So I watched that, and then I couldn't stop. I watched Still Together, Together and Still Together, straight all the way straight through. And then I couldn't get enough Brightwind content, and
Yes.
something you probably know about.
Yeah.
So I searched it on Spotify actually because I was commuting and I was like, I need to find more content. Give me. And I didn't think of Instagram yet. So then I found Together Podcast and I joined Justin on Together Podcast and we recorded. And then I came back and did another recording, and then I did another recording, and then she's like, "You're not even really just like a guest anymore. Like you're gonna have to start. You're gonna have to start working here and introducing yourself and stuff like that." So Together was kind of a segue for all kinds of BLs. I watched like 4 BLs in the first month that I
Yeah.
got into BL, and yeah, from there it just kind of took off. So yeah, like yeah, it's been amazing.
I love hearing stories like this because basically we have the same story. We
Yeah.
watched together, we fell in love with it, and then we watched other BL series and fell even more with the genre, and then for some reason, we just want more and even doing more. Um, uh, not just as a viewer but also as a creator. So it's
Right.
very relatable for me because as you know, I am also a part of Brightwin Ninangs, and
Yeah.
because of our love for Brightwin and BL, we also had this show called Brightwin Ninangs Live. We do live stream on Facebook and YouTube. So we talk about BL, we talk about life, love, LGBTQIA plus issues, politics, anything under the sun. Basically, it became our platform to talk about BL and very important matters that concerns us all. And I'm so happy to meet people like you and like us that just started loving Brightwin and BL and just and did more things out of that. So
Speaking of those things, like we've been talking for like the past few hours, right?
yeah,
We invited Jomar to be a guest on Brightwind Weekly, which is our show that keeps up with, well, attempts to keep up with all of the activities of Bright and Win, and we fail every time, but we're going to keep on trying. And then I had this special privilege of having Jomar as a guest on Pink Milk Diaries. So what happened was I joined Together Podcast. We're in Too Deep Together is the full umbrella term for all 3 of our podcasts. We started out deep diving Together and Still Together the series. As a Brightwin, we wanted to do more for that, but then we're getting close to the end of deep diving Still Together. We're actually, the next one's going to be the last episode. And I was like, well, we started as a BL podcast, so we kind of have to move on. So I brought in Pink Milk Diaries, and we focus on BL there. So that's the story. You can follow us at Together Podcast and keep track of all the updates. We're on all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Yeah.
there you go. And the one Robin is telling us about earlier, Justin, is his partner in Together Podcast in producing Pink Milk Diaries, Brightwin Weekly, and Together Podcast contents. And she is actually our kababayan. She's a Filipina, and then she became friends with Robin, and then they now they're doing all sorts of contents, talking about Brightwin and BL and more, talking about
Yeah.
politics and more. So I would all the followers and viewers of Jomar Jomar and Brightwin Ninangs also, I would like to invite you to follow Together Podcasts, and you can listen to their episodes of Pink Milk Together Podcast on Spotify. There you go. You can search that on Spotify. And there in Spotify and also in Apple Podcasts, you can search for Brightwin Weekly. They talk about anything Brightwin related. And in Pink Milk Diaries, they talk about BL series. So they now have 3 episodes. One special episode 1 is Tonong Chonlate, then they have a special episode, and then episode 2 is Dark Blue Kiss, and episode 3 is now available. Wherein Robin and I discuss about my favorite BL series, which is I Told Sunset About You. At alam nyo naman, para sa mga fans ng Brightwin Ninangs and Jomar Jomar, you know how much I love I Told Sunset About You, and you must watch and listen to my discussion with Robin, because it's another interesting discussion about I Told Sunset About You. It's Bulaan Bibig Another with Robin about I Told Sunset About You. And please subscribe to Together Podcast YouTube channel. Ayan, search nyo lang po yan. They are also on Twitter, Together Podcasts. You can also follow their Instagram, Together Podcast, and you can also like and follow their Facebook page, Together Podcast. So do it now. Let's support each other, and let's support all Brightwin BL creators, just like me and just like the Brightwin Ninang. So let's support Together Podcast. Amazing. So uh, as of um, as of this moment, my Brightwin Weekly episode with Robin and Justin is now available, so you can go listen to it on Spotify. And my Christmas episode with Robin about Itsai is also now available on their YouTube and on Spotify. So go search for that on Spotify and on YouTube. Just search Together Podcast. Don't forget, this is Who's Watching with Jomar Jomar, so you can like and follow my Facebook page, and please subscribe on my YouTube channel, Jomar Jomar. And right now, I'm going to talk about Game Boys plus more Pinoy BLs with Robin, who is an American BL fan but actually loves Game Boys and watch a lot of Pinoy BL. So I'm very curious. Ano kaya yung nagustuhan niya sa Pinoy BL? Bakit niya kaya gusto yung Game Boys? Excited akong malaman niya. So, are you ready? Are you ready, Robin?
I don't know if I can be, but I am ready. I'm too excited. You know what I mean? A lot of energy flowing through my veins right now.
That's nice. That's nice. So you mentioned earlier how you became a fan of the BL genre. You mentioned, and Justin actually mentioned it to me also, that you love Game Boys.
Yes.
Among all the Pinoy BLs you've seen, you love Game Boys. Why? I would like to know why.
So for me, I'm in a long distance relationship. So most of the like interaction that I have with my boyfriend is over video calling, and so I just really related to the idea of the feeling of just like being on a screen and relating to the person that you love on a screen, and that was very strong for me. And also, it was very cleverly shot. I love how it related to COVID and everything that was happening. Actually, when I was watching it, I was locked down. I didn't watch it when it first came out. I watched it in the winter. And I work in a cafe, and that cafe was closed because of COVID cases in the store. So I related to the being in lockdown and watching that And it was just, it was just a really well done. It was very emotional for me. Justin taught me the word kilig.
Feeling, yes.
Kilig, yeah. I felt kilig when I was watching it. So for
Heart
me,
flattering.
yeah, for me, it was just all around great for those reasons.
Yes, and Game Boys is actually like a pioneer because it was the very first Pinoy, full-length Pinoy BL series that premiere when BL became huge worldwide.
Mhm.
It premiered last May 22, 2020, and after that, a lot of Pinoy BLs were also produced, and I also love Game Boys. Among some Pinoy BLs I've seen, Game Boys and Guys sa Pelikula are my favorites. And since we're talking about Game Boys, I love Game Boys because it's very timely. They incorporated the situation right now, the COVID situation right now, with the romance of Gabriel and Cairo, and
Yeah.
it's very relatable also. And I love Kokoy and Elijah. If you're not aware, Robin, I'm not sure, but Kokoy and Elijah, the lead actors, are two of the best young actors in our country right now. They're both starred in critically acclaimed movies and actually won awards because of their acting. And I am a fan of those actors. And seeing them together in one series, it's so great. And it's well written, plus it's well acted because both Elijah and Kokoy are so good. So I would understand why you actually fell in love with Game Boys. But apart from Game Boys, what are some more of the Pinoy BLs you've seen?
I actually had to write out a list because there's a few, just a
Okay.
few. So I watched Game Boys, obviously. I watched Gaya se Pelicula is my other favorite. They're almost like at the same level. I just liked Game Boys because I have that personal relation
Yes.
to
Yes.
it. I liked My Day was kind of tough for me to like in the beginning, but I actually really grew to love it towards the
Okay.
end, just because of how crazy it was. It was cool. I like Meet Me Outside. I watched Hello Stranger was another really good one. Boys Lockdown and Quarantine Things are also two more that I watched. And I really want to see Omando. That's probably next on my list.
Mando starring Kokoy and
Yeah.
Alex Diaz. Okay, and you've actually seen a lot. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you've mentioned
I
a
went
lot of titles
I went
there.
through a BL phase. Like I go through
Yeah.
BL phases. So recently I watched I've been watching some Korean BLs, but at that time I went through a phase of watching Filipino BLs. Yeah.
So watching this Pinoy BLs, Robin, what can you say are the things you like about Pinoy BLs?
Uh well, first, like more broadly, like about all BLs, I like that I'm hearing about like LGBTQ acceptance, or at least, okay, BL touches the place in me that when I was younger, like I didn't have that. We were kind of talking about that on Pink Milk Diaries earlier, which was, I grew up and I didn't see a lot of LGBTQ relationships in in TV, in those stories.
Yeah.
What I like about Pinoy BLs specifically, uh, a lot of them are not very long, first of all. So you think like in the beginning that it's not much of a time commitment, but in actuality, when you click play, you're not you're not committing yourself to 20 minutes. You're actually committing yourself to watching every single episode
Okay.
in one sitting. So what I like is that it draws you in. All the ones that I've seen so far, I've just sat down and watched them completely through. I've really related to the fact that they're more like COVID specific, like Game Boys
Okay.
and Quarantine Things and Boys Lockdown were very clearly about COVID. And that was really clever to utilize the world situation to emphasize the plot of these BLs. So specifically that. And then I
They
don't.
were very timely made.
Yeah, right. And I don't want to stereotype like all Pinoy BLs, but I think there's a way in which they're not afraid to show like passion and
Oh,
emotion. That yeah, you see passion in other BLs, Thai BL included, but I just specifically love the expression of passion in Pinoy BLs.
were your experiences watching um, Pinoy BL somehow introduce you to the Pinoy culture? It made you somehow got to know Filipinos a bit more as a nation and as a people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and as we said earlier, my podcasting partner actually is from the Philippines, and it's been an honor. You know, to our country, there are two countries that have a lot of connections.
Yeah,
But mostly it's a one-sided relationship, right? The United States was an imperialist power that kept the Philippines back a little bit. And so for me, it's interesting to be taught something about BL from a country that was almost subject to the U.S. So I like to actually learn something from other cultures. Yeah, and I really appreciate Filipino culture, although I know I've only grazed the surface.
but have you been here in the Philippines?
Never. No. So I used to live in San Diego, California, which has a huge Filipino immigrant population. So I've known a lot of Filipino Americans. But yeah, I have not yet been to the Philippines, and it is on my list of places to go. I am an aspiring world traveler. You know, I've been to a
Yeah,
few places, but I really want to visit the Philippines. Yeah.
we would love you. I would love to meet you here when that time comes, Robin. And
Absolutely.
what I would like to know right now is, do you have like biases, um, uh, like Pinoy BL crushes, actors?
Kokoi. Yeah, big. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah, and then I'm bad with names, but I know faces. And then the lead actor in Hello Stranger. What's his name?
Which
Um,
one, Tony or JC?
Tony. I think it's Tony. Yeah,
Tony Labrusca.
yeah, yeah. Also, he is a Pinoy BL crush that I have. Yeah, those two.
So crush niya si Kokoy at si Tony, and oo naman, makakasyan mo talaga si Kokoy tsaka si si Tony Labrusca. Oh, but I would also like to know, for just for a comparison discussion, Robin, what are the BL series you've seen from other parts of Asia, like Thailand, Taiwan, Korea? What are some of your favorites from other countries?
So for Thai BL, together is too obvious. So I think for
Yeah.
Thai BL, actually, we share a favorite in I Told Sunset About You.
Yes.
Um, for Japanese BL, it's Cherry Magic. I love that.
Yes.
Uh, for for Korean BL, it's Light on Me so far. I liked Mr. Heart too, but I really like Light on Me so far. It's really funny.
It's
Um,
fun, yeah.
yeah, and yeah, that's it. Well, Taiwanese BL. Actually, it's an older one. Is Red Balloon. Uh,
Red Balloon, okay.
yeah, yeah, I like that one.
I haven't seen
I
that one, but I've seen a lot of Taiwanese BLs.
Yeah, I haven't seen as a disclosure, I have not seen a few Taiwanese BLs because I'm waiting for my boyfriend to have enough time to watch them with me. So I haven't seen We Best Love. I haven't seen a lot of the history series because of
Okay.
that. So
You
I'm open to other favorites.
Yeah, you should watch those with your boyfriend. They're
Yeah.
really, really good. There are lots of good Taiwanese BLs. And watching Pinoy BL and other BLs from, Thailand, Korea, Japan, what would you say are, or how would you differentiate Pinoy BLs from other Asian BLs?
So there are positives. Like I said before, I appreciate the depiction of passion more so. I just feel like somehow I don't know whether it's because Tagalog is more conducive to expressing passionate themes. I know that Thai is, but like also Thai BLs are like fun and silly a lot of the time, with the exception of a few. And Japanese BLs are like cute and like, you know, they're really interesting with their plot. Taiwanese BLs, I feel like they're and Korean BLs are you know kind of struggling with homophobia more. I don't know. So you know, for me, it's that. I guess for a negative, it's not so much the production of the shows, but it's there seems to be a little more drama. I mean, for any Thai BL fan, there's drama behind the scenes of those shows too. But what I would worry about is, for example, people being victimized, like in Gaya Se Pelicula. That's a little worrisome, but that's not specific to Pinoy BL. There's not. I don't know if there's a systemic problem there. That seems to be a problem in the entertainment industry or any industry where there's a power differential. So it's yeah. So but that would be the only area of concern.
That's an entirely different discussion. But
Yeah.
As Robin mentioned, it's not necessarily about Pinoy BLs. It's a systemic problem in the entertainment industry. The power abuse. Should discuss these things. But I love how Robin pointed out this the depiction and the depiction of romance, of passion in Pinoy BLs. And yes, Robin, we are very passionate as a nation. We are very passionate as people, really. Earlier, I mentioned that there are actually a lot of Pinoy BLs produced since Game Boys premiered back in May 2020, May 22, 2020. And as of the latest, there are actually Pinoy BLs. 57 are completed BLs. There were 4 that got canceled or discontinued, and there are actually 17 ongoing Pinoy BLs right now. And that's actually a lot for me, you know, coming from a BL fan and knowing that Pinoy BL producers just started doing BL shows back in May 2020, and now there are actually 78. That's actually a lot.
That's overwhelming.
What?
I said that's overwhelming. That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's overwhelming, and a lot feels like they just joined the bandwagon of producing Pinoy BLs, and and their understanding is just featuring sexy, good-looking cisgender newbie actors who are, you know, willing to do this kind of stories and are willing to kiss each other on cam because that's what the viewers want. And there are also some who are still using sex as a theme for a series with inappropriate sex scenes just to gain, you know, viewership, fame, clout. And I have no problem with a sexy theme BL series, but it must be done right because, you know, the execution is everything. It should be not the kind of execution wherein gays and LGBTQIA plus people will be subject to stereotype as just human beings who love sex, you know, because it's not, and that's totally wrong, especially here in our society in the Philippines, where we are still fighting for acceptance and equal rights and breaking these stereotypes. And I don't mean all stories should be focused to this or must be political but FYI, everything is political. But, you know, we can make BLs that are rom-coms, like stories, feel-good stories, even comedy or fantasy genre. But right, and I just hope that the intention here is pushing the BL narratives to shatter the social norms and conventional wisdom, also stereotypes, by producing stories with sensitive depictions and diversity of human relationships, because that's for me is the significance of the BL genre today, and that's exactly why I fell in love with it. So hearing these thoughts from me,
Hmm.
a Pinoy, raising these concerns on Pinoy BL series, what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, first of all, yeah, I have to agree with you actually, because there are one or two, I'm not going to name them, but there are one or two Pinoy BL series that were not well produced that I started watching, and within a few minutes, I didn't even know trailers or anything, but within a few minutes, I just stopped watching them. Um, and the reason behind it was it had been a few minutes and there's already sex, or it had been a few minutes and there was no well established plot. Um, and you know, that's a challenge for me. Like that is worrisome. There's a lot of ways in which quantity does not equal quality. Not to be cliche about it, but
Yes.
that's true in some ways. Chances are, if there are all of these things happening really fast, you get one BL like Game Boys, which has a really well thought out plot. It's timely. It doesn't play on tropes. It's very positive. Um, and then you have another one that wasn't thought out. It wasn't produced well.